Sabian, this is Full Sound, welcome. Just give you a quick idea about the setup and the facility here. This is primarily a mastering, mixing facility. We also do some tracking for smaller bands, but basically mastering, stem mixing and mixing is the main thing that is done here. Well, I've been doing this basically one form or another for some 25 years. So, you know, starting with tape recorders, with cassette recorders, multi-tracks, 2-inch tape. In my case, I was doing this well before digital era and plugins were available. What we have is boxes that are really great, they achieve great sonics. They have great sound in that kind of analog way. You can saturate them, you can do basically it's all gain staging, which is another way of getting the loudness basically, by the way. But analog, you are pushing things to the limit, and it's very sort of sweet spotting. You find the sweet spot by a certain unit will actually just sing. It will just before any distortion and so on, and you can get a lot of very high levels. Now when I put that finally back into software, in the past I had the problem that I was just not having the control on all these EQs. They're great, the passive EQs, they sound great, but they're basically for broad shaping. But to have that kind of grip and control, you could really only do with digital, with a plugin. So I tested all sorts of plugins, everything pretty much available. Flux is my favorite for when I need it. But every time I switched on the digital EQ, the plugin, it was some flatness that happening. There's loss of 3D and loss of size. There is certain hardness to it, and these were I could certainly get the frequencies right and the balance right, but the sonics was just spoiled to a degree, okay. And I was not happy with that. And this is really where my basically I was always looking out and hoping there was an EQ, an outboard analog EQ with great sonics, but they would give me that kind of precision and control. And this is where PQ, SPL PQ came in. First time I actually saw the spec, I thought, wow, if this sounds good, then this will be it. Because basically, what I really love about it, what attracted me to it in the first place, was definitely not the price tag, but was the fact that you have 5 bands of continuously variable controls, meaning gain, Q and frequencies are continuously selectable. You can just sweep through, just like with the digital EQ, and find the sweet spot. And in the past I've pretty much tried or owned any other mastering EQ there is. There might be one or two that I haven't had a chance to try. Precision wise, there's nothing like it. There is absolutely nothing that will give you that that kind of digital hands-on precision. My worry is always that those surgical type of EQs, in my experience, don't sound too musical and nice to me. So EQs that I like the sound of happen to be passive valve EQs. They just sound great, but don't have the control, the precision that is needed for mastering. Other type of EQs which are more surgical and commonly used, I've tried, I had them, owned them. There was always something that bothered me about most of them, and that is the certain, basically on the sonic, it's a tone. Like a guitarist has a guitar, a plectrum will make a different tone. Equally, you know, basically having a mastering chain, outward mastering chain is like building your own instrument, if you wish. You pick up the components, and hopefully you put them together in the right order and play with the order as well, and you will get a tool that altogether becomes one big EQ. When I actually first got it, you know, solid state EQ, precision, surgical, so on and so on, I wasn't expecting much. I was just hoping that it wouldn't destroy what I already had, which I was happy with. Basically, next thing I know, I was, wow, this thing sounds like nothing out there. It really, it is almost like, well, one thing it actually reminded me of is the old Neumanns a little bit, I must say. There was some similarity to it, perhaps in the upper mids, but the actual warmth and smoothness of it is just something I really did not expect. So I was really blown away with the sound of it. And it has actually two sounds. That's another point to make. It sounds different in a proportional Q as constant Q. The way I test any piece of equipment is I put it in not in bypass, but actually all engaged but flat, and I compare what it does to the signal before I even do anything with it. Now that is the crucial sound of the circuit, if you wish. That is kind of like 50% of my decision, because if it does things that I don't like, it's very unlikely that I'll be able to make up for it with actually when I start tweaking it. What PQ does, it basically widens the soundstage somewhat, warms the bass up nicely, and you just get this wider soundstage. It is really the one. If there had to be one box, it would be this. You could do the job with, because it sounds great, and like I said, you've got all the control you can imagine. You can hope for.